My friend, what an insane match between Real Madrid and City. Mbappe pulled off a hat-trick, Vini Jr put on a show, and man, the reactions from Zidane and even Rooney had everyone talking. Zizou was right there in the stadium, applauding Mbappe's goals like he was witnessing the birth of a new Galactico. And Rooney? Well, he dropped a take that caught everyone off guard. The Ballon d'Or debate just got even hotter, and some are already claiming that Mbappe has overtaken Vini in the race for the award. But is it really that clear-cut? I'll break it all down for you, what Zidane had to say, Rooney's controversial opinion, and of course, I want to hear your thoughts too. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the channel to help us grow. I noticed that 80% of the people who watch our videos aren't subscribed, so please hit that like button and subscribe to help us reach 5,000 subscribers. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. First, let's hit our goal of 1,000 likes on this video. Now that you're subscribed, let's get into the news. Well, Real Madrid and Manchester City delivered an absolute thriller, the kind of game that reminds us why the Champions League is so special. Ancelotti's squad came in full force, and Mbappe was simply unstoppable. The Frenchman bagged a hat-trick that will go down in history, while Vinicius Jr also made his mark. But what's really making waves now is the post-match reaction. Zinedine Zidane was in the stands, watching it all unfold, and cameras caught his reaction during the game. When Mbappe scored his second goal, Zizou stood up, clapped, and gave that knowing smile, like he was witnessing something truly special. And it didn't stop there. After the match, Zidane was asked about the French star's performance and he didn't hold back. Tonight's match is a perfect example of what Mbappe is capable of with this jersey. The level he showed today is exactly what I expect him to deliver for years at Real Madrid. I don't like to downplay expectations when it comes to a player like him. He's ready to take center stage in games like this, and at Real Madrid, it's only a matter of time before he wins the Ballon d'Or. Zidane basically guaranteed that Mbappe will win the Ballon d'Or while playing for Madrid. And if we remember his past statements where he's already put the Frenchman ahead of Vini Jr, it's clear he has a strong preference. Last summer, when the transfer was confirmed, Zizou even said that Mbappe would surpass everyone, including Vinicius, Benzema, and even Cristiano Ronaldo. Bold words, right? But Zidane wasn't the only one whose reaction sparked debate. Wayne Rooney, a Manchester United legend and former Premier League rival of Real Madrid, also weighed in on the game, and his comments surprised a lot of people. The Englishman, who isn't usually one to shower Real Madrid players with praise, didn't hold back. Mbappe put in one of those performances that define a career. What he did against City was out of this world. But if we're talking about the best player of the season so far, I still have Vinicius Jr ahead. He's been the main man for Real Madrid since day one, and his consistency impresses me more. This debate shouldn't be settled so quickly. So, while Zidane is already putting Mbappe on top, Rooney still sees Vini Jr as Madrid's biggest star for now. And you can't deny that the Brazilian's numbers back up that argument. Vinicius Jr 28 goal contributions in 32 games, 0.87 per match. Mbappe 31 goal contributions in 37 games, 0.83 per match. The difference might seem small, but when it comes to the Ballon d'Or, every little stat matters. But here's the key point, the European media is already running with the narrative that Mbappe is the new face of Real Madrid. In Spain's top newspapers, Marca, one of the most influential outlets, gave him a perfect 10 rating and ran this headline. Mbappe was spectacular. With a dream night, he proves he's fully adapted to Real Madrid and secures his spot in the Ballon d'Or race. Meanwhile, AS took it even further. He is the champion. He is Mbappe. Real Madrid demolished City, and the Frenchman had his big moment. Guardiola's defense couldn't keep up with his electrifying pace. So, the narrative is being built. And if Vinicius doesn't respond with some massive performances in the Champions League knockout stages, he might find himself falling behind in the Ballon d'Or race. We all know how the European media operates. Last year, no one was talking about Rodri for the Ballon d'Or, until suddenly, he became one of the favorites in the final months of the season. And what happened? Vini, who carried Real Madrid with incredible stats, was completely overlooked in the final voting. The big question now is, will history repeat itself? Mbappe was phenomenal against City and is gaining momentum at Real Madrid. But is the media pushing this narrative too hard? Or is Zidane right, and the Frenchman is truly set to dominate the club for years to come? If we've already noticed that the European press is doing everything to establish Mbappe as Madrid's new superstar, just imagine how this is being felt inside the dressing room. Is Mbappe's rise shaking up the team's atmosphere? Well, right after the match against City, Vinicius Jr was asked about his teammate's hat-trick and gave a very professional response. He praised Mbappe, called it a world-class performance, and emphasized that it only strengthens the team's push for the Champions League title. But anyone who follows football knows that behind the scenes, battles for the spotlight can have a much bigger impact than they seem. According to sources close to Real Madrid, Vinicius definitely felt the weight of all the buzz surrounding Mbappe, especially after Zidane's comments. The Brazilian is fully aware of the stature he has built at the club and knows that, up until now, he has been the team's main figure. But hearing a legend like Zizou practically declare that Mbappe will be both the future Ballon d'Or winner and the face of Real Madrid in the coming years might not have sat well with him. And it's not just Vinicius, this shift has been noticed within the club as well. Players like Rodrigo have reportedly mentioned in private conversations that Vinicius, despite being the most decisive player since last season, doesn't always receive the level of recognition he deserves. And there's more. Insiders claim that the club's management has also taken note of how the media is steering the narrative, and to some extent, they seem comfortable with it. However, what remains uncertain is how this dynamic will affect the locker room. Real Madrid has always prioritized balance among its stars, and any disruption to that harmony could create tension down the line. Many already see Mbappe as the main figure in the club's project, but that view ignores everything Vinicius has accomplished. The Brazilian is determined not to lose his place and has all the motivation he needs to prove that he is still the face of this team. And what about Carlo Ancelotti? Well, the Italian manager played it smart in his press conference. He praised Mbappe but also made a point to highlight that Real Madrid isn't built around just one star. Kylian had a fantastic performance, no doubt. But we have a squad full of top-quality players. Vinicius, Rodrigo, Bellingham, they can all step up in big games, and that's a huge advantage for us. His message was clear: inside the squad, no player stands above the rest. But will the European media respect that? Based on what we've seen so far, it looks like the narrative is already set to place Mbappe at the top of the hierarchy at Real Madrid. This is nothing new, especially considering the massive media influence the Frenchman carries and the expectations surrounding his arrival. Over the past few years, Vinicius Jr has grown into a key player and has become Real Madrid's go-to man in the biggest moments. He has delivered in finals, scored unforgettable goals, and built a strong bond with the fans. That's why this isn't just about Mbappe being a phenomenal player, it's also about how his presence will affect those who were already there and leading the team. Ancelotti will have to manage this situation carefully because any sign of favoritism could create unrest within the squad. For the fans, this is also a sensitive topic. Vinicius has already won the hearts of Madridistas and has written his own story at the club, something that can't just be overlooked. The psychological aspect is another factor that can't be ignored. Vinicius has always had a strong personality and has shown resilience in the face of adversity, but this situation might put his patience to the test. If he feels sidelined, his performances could suffer. On the other hand, if he uses this as fuel, we might see an even more determined Vinicius proving his worth. Meanwhile, Mbappe arrives under enormous pressure to live up to the sky-high expectations. He has always dreamed of playing for Real Madrid, but now it's time for him to prove he can be just as decisive as he was at PSG. Another major factor in play is the international narrative. The Ballon d'Or is one of Mbappe's biggest goals, and the European media already seems eager to push him as the front-runner. However, Vinicius has every right to be in that conversation too. If he continues delivering big moments and leads Madrid to another Champions League title, it will be impossible to ignore him. Ultimately, it will all come down to performances on the pitch, and this internal rivalry is shaping up to be one of the most fascinating stories in football. It could push the team to new heights, or create friction, depending on how it unfolds. So, what do you guys think? Has Mbappe already taken the spotlight at Real Madrid, and is the Ballon d'Or basically his? Or will Vini Jr silence the European media and prove that this team already has its leader? This debate is far from over, and we'll definitely see more twists and turns as the season progresses. Stay tuned, because this discussion is heating up. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's talk about this rivalry that could shake up world football.